Salvete discipuli, this is help for your Latin studies in Henle First Year Latin, exercise number 187. In this exercise, we are asked to translate Latin sentences into English. And I just want to take a look at problem number 2 with you of exercise 187. In problem number 2, it reads, multi hostes trans montes in Italiam venerunt. That's one sentence. And then we have eos, flip the page, tamen Romani vigerunt. So there's two little sentences to translate in this one problem number 2. All right, so let's start with the first sentence. Multi hostes trans montes in Italiam venerunt. Well, we will recognize some things here right away. We have an adjective and our subject, our nominative plural form of hostis hostis, which means enemy. So many enemies. That's our subject. What did they do? Here's our verb, venerunt. Okay, so this is from the verb I better look this up. Venio, venere. This was pretty recent. Venio, venere. There it is. Venio, venere, veni, ventum. And I can tell by the ending, erunt, that this is going to be in the perfect system when we translate it. That ending is a third person perfect ending. So it's completed action. They came. Yep, venio, venere means come, and it's in the perfect tense, and so it's completed action, so they came. Many enemies came trans montes, across the mountains, in Italiam, in Italy. So we have a preposition and an object of the preposition. Remember, trans takes the accusative, and in or into Italiam, into Italy. When in, remember, in is kind of tricky as a preposition in Latin, depending on whether or not it communicates some sense of movement or a stationary position, will dictate whether or not the noun, the object of the preposition, is in the accusative or ablative case. And in this particular problem, that Italiam, this is a first declension noun, so we have I, am, a. That's the accusative case. And it's when it's in the accusative case that our preposition is communicating movement. And so we're not going to say in Italy as like a stationary position, but we're going to say into Italy as in they went across the mountains and then into Italy. I hope that that is clear. So when we translate this, we'll start with our subject, which has an adjective, many enemies. And then I'm going to put my verb to say what they did. Came, again, it is in the perfect tense, so it's going to show past completed action. Across the mountains into Italy. Okay, so there's our first sentence. And then the next one begins with this word, eos. Eos, tamen Romani vigerunt. Okay, so here's clearly the verb, vigerunt, and it has that same erunt ending. And so it's also showing, it's also in the perfect tense, showing that past completed action. And it is from the verb that means conquer. So they conquered. In this case, it's a third person plural. perfect tense verb. So they conquered. Who conquered though? When I look at eos, you notice that was our first word of the sentence. That is not in the nominative case. It is not our subject. And so I'm just gonna check my Latin grammar rule. I'm looking at number 128 to see that eos is actually masculine and accusative. So this is our direct object. It's the first word of the sentence, but you might remember that Latin word order has flexibility. I'll put it that way. It's not that it doesn't matter, but it does have flexibility. And it's not the same as like in English where we follow certain sentence patterns. It's not the same. And so eos, we're gonna hold on to that as our direct object, which means them. See that in our rule number 128? As a direct object, it's a third person plural, eos, and so it means them. Okay, but we're saying something about them. We're saying something like conquered them, right? We know conquered and we know them. And so what do we do with these other two words, tamen and romani? Well, tamen is a word that means nevertheless. So we might just start there. Nevertheless, romani. Well, there you go. There's our subject. That has that nominative plural ending, right? We have Romanus, Romani, meaning Roman, as in a Roman, a person that is a Roman. But when we have that Romani in the nominative case, then it's plural. So the Romans conquered eos, them. So our second sentence is, nevertheless, start with that, comma, the Romans conquered, remember that completed, I had a little pause there because I can't remember how to spell conquered. The Romans conquered them. There's our direct object. And there's the two sentences for problem number 2 in exercise 187. I hope that this has been helpful to you and you have a great week.